You're not lazy, you're just avoiding the one thing you already know you need to do. And instead of doing it, you sit with it. You carry it around in your head for hours, for days, sometimes for weeks. You think about it when you're at work, you think about it when you get home, you think about it when you're trying to relax. And every time it comes up, you don't act, you just think. You replay it, you build it up. You start creating scenarios that haven't even happened yet. And slowly, something small starts to feel heavy. Then it feels difficult. Then it feels like something you really don't want to deal with. And now you've got a problem, not because the task is hard, but because you've turned it into something bigger than it actually is. I used to do this constantly, not just with work, with everything. Workouts, cleaning, simple tasks that should have taken maybe 20 minutes. And especially conversations I didn't want to have. I'd sit there knowing exactly what needed to be done and still not move. Not because I didn't have the time, not because I didn't know what to say, because I didn't want to deal with the moment. So instead, I'd think. And thinking feels productive. It feels like you're working through something. But most of the time, it's just avoidance with better branding. Because once you start thinking instead of doing, your brain doesn't help you execute. It helps you justify. It starts building a case. And the longer you let it run, the stronger that case gets. Now's not the right time. I need to approach this the right way. Let me think about how to say it. Maybe I should wait. Maybe it'll fix itself. And if you don't catch it, you start believing it. That's exactly what happened to me. A few weeks ago, I had to have a direct conversation with someone on my team. Nothing extreme, no major conflict, just something that needed to be addressed. Behavior needed to be corrected, clear feedback needed to be given. Simple, at least it should have been. And I didn't do it. Not that day, not the next day, not even that week. I let it sit. For almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks of knowing. 3 weeks of carrying it around in my head. Every time I saw them, it popped up. Every time I thought about work, it popped up. Every time I had a moment to myself, it came back. And every time, I made the same decision. Not now. And here's what my brain was telling me the entire time. This is going to deflate them. They're going to take it the wrong way. They're going to be off for a few days after this. Maybe they'll figure it out on their own. Maybe they'll realize it. Maybe they'll come to me. And if you step back for a second, that sounds reasonable. It sounds like you're being thoughtful, like you're considering impact, like you're trying to handle it the right way. But that's not what's happening. What's actually happening is you're avoiding discomfort. You're avoiding the moment, the tension, the possibility that it doesn't go perfectly. So instead of stepping into it, you stay back and you wait. And while you're waiting, you pay for it, not with money, not with time on a clock, with mental space, because it doesn't go away. It follows you. You leave work, it's still there. You're at home, it's still there. You're trying to unwind, and it shows up again. Now you're replaying it, running different versions. What if they react like this? What if I say it wrong? What if it turns into something bigger, and now something that should have taken 10 minutes is costing you hours? Hours of thought, hours of energy, hours of attention that should be going somewhere else. And the situation, it's not improving, it's not fixing itself. It's just sitting there, waiting for you to act. That's the part people ignore. Avoidance doesn't remove the problem, it multiplies the cost. And eventually, you hit a point where you're just tired. Not physically, mentally. You're tired of thinking about it, tired of carrying it, tired of letting it sit there unresolved. That's where I got to. After almost 3 weeks, I stopped negotiating. No more thinking. No more running scenarios. No more waiting for the perfect moment. Just one decision. Alright, fuck it. And I sat down with them. No script, no over-preparation, no trying to engineer the perfect delivery. Just direct, clear, done. And here's the part that matters. The thing I had been building up in my head for weeks wasn't real. The conversation, it was quick. It was straightforward. It was received about as well as it could have been. No blow-up, no shutdown, no long-term fallout. Just a conversation. That's it. And when it was over, everything shifted. There was calm, not excitement, not some big emotional payoff. Just calm. The weight was gone. The space in my head cleared up. The thing that had been sitting there for weeks, it was finished. And I remember sitting there thinking, why did I wait so long for that? And that's the moment where you realize this isn't about one situation. This is a pattern. Because if you're honest, you've done the same thing. Maybe not with a conversation, but with something. A workout you keep pushing off. A task you keep delaying. Something sitting on your list. that's been there longer than it should be. And every time you think about it, you don't act. You sit with it. You build it up. You turn it into something bigger than it actually is. Because here's the truth. You're not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling you think comes with the task. The discomfort, the effort, the friction. And your brain takes that feeling and exaggerates it, it stretches it, makes it feel heavier, makes it feel like something you don't want to deal with right now. So you hesitate. And hesitation turns into delay. And delay turns into avoidance. And avoidance turns into a cycle where things just sit and sit and sit until they become problems that didn't need to exist. I've seen this play out with everything: work, fitness, basic life tasks. There were times I'd sit there thinking about working out longer than the workout itself would have taken, thinking about cleaning something longer than it would have taken to just do it. And every single time, same result. The anticipation was worse than the action. Every time, not most of the time, every time. So eventually, you either keep living like that, or you change the rule. And I had to change the rule because thinking wasn't helping. It was making everything worse. So now I don't negotiate with it. The moment I feel resistance, I don't sit there and analyze it. I don't try to understand it. I don't give it time to grow. I cut it off immediately. Fuck it, do it. That's the rule. Because I've learned something that doesn't change. The longer you think about something, the harder it feels. Not because it actually is harder, but because you've given your brain time to distort it. And once it's distorted, you don't act, you hesitate. And hesitation is where everything breaks down. So now the goal isn't to eliminate resistance. That's not realistic. You're always going to feel it. The goal is to move before it takes over, because resistance is strongest when you sit with it, but it weakens the moment you act. And once you start, everything changes. Momentum kicks in, clarity shows up, and you realize it was never that serious to begin with. So look at your own life right now. There's something sitting there, something you've been avoiding. You've thought about it more than once. You've probably justified waiting, told yourself you'll get to it later. And if you're being honest, it's still sitting there. So here's the move. Next time that resistance hits, you don't wait. You don't think. You don't negotiate. You don't run scenarios in your head. You cut it off immediately and you move. Because starting is the hardest part. Not the task, not the outcome. Just starting. Everything after that is easier than you think. So if this hit, good. Now prove it. Pick one thing you've been avoiding and go handle it. Right now. Not later. Not after another video. Now. Because the only thing standing between you and getting it done is the moment you decide to start. And that decision is always yours.